Hey everybody, welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast. Josh here. I am sitting in my truck. It is currently day 3 of the Latimer family staycation. Not really a vacation because we're staying here, which honestly is better. If you have kids, going on a vacation actually is more work than not going on a vacation. So it's funny because when you get back, you feel more exhausted than when you left in the first place. Yet the point of a vacation is to like recharge and reconnect and rest, right? But hey, we have 5 kids and a lot of them are little, and it's been really cool. And I've just finished up a super hard project, the super course. And so I took 4 days off, and today's Monday. I'm going to go in and watch the NCAA Michigan versus whoever they're playing. I have no idea who they're playing, but they're Michigan. And I've been so busy, I haven't watched any sports at all in like months. And I'm a huge football fan. I barely paid attention to that too. So if that shows you anything about my level of commitment, that's something. But we're relaxing. We're having fun. We went bowling today. Now, why did I tell you this? Well, what I want to talk to you about is a couple different things. The first thing is the concept that you can only see the world through your own lens. And I was thinking about this today, and one of my friends years ago told me this, kind of like a mentor. He told me, he said, Josh, you can only see the world through your own lens. And if you think about this, and I'll explain, it's really, really, really true. So for example, if you're someone who's dishonest or you're a thief, and you steal, you are going to be perpetually paranoid that everybody is stealing from you because that is your paradigm. That is reality to you. It's hard for you to understand how someone is not a thief when you at your very core are a thief. Or if you're an adulterer and you are constantly, doing things you shouldn't do, in case kids are listening, and you're in a marriage relationship, right? If you're the person that does that, you're the person who's arguing with your spouse thinking that they're doing that to you because you're struggling with that because that is your thing and it's wrong, but it's your deal because that's your paradigm, your worldview. You're constantly thinking everybody else does that. Even though it's not true, it feels true to you. When it comes to business, I feel like depending on your background and your belief system around money, around success, around what's possible, around thinking big, it has a profound, huge, enormous impact on you and your current situation. And I know you have a small business if you're listening to this show. If not, you wouldn't be listening still, right? And here's the deal. How do you change your belief system? How do you change your paradigm? If you come from a non-entrepreneurial family, if you come from just a lineage of people and community that can't even wrap their head around the idea of having affluence or wealth or building something significant, or if you come from a family that doesn't invest in other people, doesn't put other people first, maybe they don't have a lot of character, maybe they're selfish. Doesn't mean they're like super evil, and you probably love them, but they're just kind of selfish. They're complainers. They're negative. Like every time you go out to eat, they send their food back because there's always something wrong. No matter what, there's always something wrong, right? If that's kind of your paradigm, even if you're trying to break free from it, even if you recognize it, it's still influencing you. It still affects you. And I look at my kids. The last few days I've been hanging out with them because I've been working late for a little while. I look at them and I'm like they have no idea. They're not wrong for not having an idea. They just don't. It's like math. It's like mathematics. Like, well, obviously they have no idea, but they have no idea what it's like to not think big. They don't know what it's like to really believe that something's impossible. And sure, they're going to struggle with their own personal self-limiting beliefs and their own little battles and their own nuances of their personalities, which are numerous, which is actually amazing to me because when we had our first kid, Maverick, he was a super good baby, an amazingly obedient toddler and young man. He still is. He's incredible. He's just amazing. And so when we had our first kid, me and my wife, well, mostly me, I was like, we are so good at being parents. Like, our kid is amazing. We're crushing it, right? And really, it just turned out like he was just a nice guy. He just kind of came out of the, he came out like genetically predispositioned to be like a nice person that cares about other people. And then we realized that all 4 of our other kids are completely different. Like, everybody's different. You're unique. But even in your uniqueness, you are profoundly shaped by the environment that you're in, the whole nature versus nurture thing. I don't have any like data or research or any of that stuff. This is my own observation, and it's pretty evident and obvious. And I'm sure that most of you will agree with me, is the environment that you're raised in, it sets the stage for you on what you're going to struggle with. Now, if you stay in that lane, you're not going to struggle with that kind of stuff. But if you try to pivot out, or you try to grow, or you try to go beyond what the norm is in your brain, in your circle of influence, it's going to be really, really, really hard. And my encouragement to you is to remember that while you're in the process of changing, while you're in the process of building $1 million business, even though you don't personally in real life know anybody that's ever done that, even though the people that love and care about you think that you're wasting your time, even though people have told you, why don't you go get a real job? Even though people think you're crazy or it's silly, or every time you think of a new idea and you can only see the possibility and the potential positive outcome, they only see the negative possible outcome. What if you lose everything? What if it doesn't work? What are you going to do about this? What about your retirement? What about this? Blah, 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 right? In the midst of you saying, screw that, I'm going for it anyway, which most of you are doing, in the midst of that, it can get very discouraging when things are harder than you thought they'd be. And it can get very discouraging when things are messier than you think they should be. But I want you to understand a truth that you got to understand, guys. I didn't come from nothing, okay? If I lost everything tomorrow, it doesn't mean anything to me or my family. Like, my family is number one. My family is number one, and my son just walked up to my truck. I'm sitting on my phone. I'm kind of doing a low quality podcast, but my passion is real because I'm going to go in and hang out with him because we're on the staycation. I just want you to remember that progress is messy, and it feels messy, and that's normal. So when you're in the middle of it and you're making a change and people are coming against you, none of that matters. And the fact that it's chaotic and messy and really hard, that doesn't matter. That has no bearing on the outcome. It has no bearing on if you're doing the right thing or not. Now, I always tell you guys, you got to walk through the fire. You got to lean into the pain. Right? And I believe that that's true. There's a caveat to it. If you've been leaning into the pain for a decade, something's probably broken. It's not permanent. It shouldn't last that long, but it's okay if it's hard for a little while. It's not only is it okay if it's hard for a little while, it's supposed to be really hard for a little while, or else you're not doing anything different. It's like birthing a child when you start a company. And people have massively screwed up expectations on what it actually feels like in the day-to-day to build a business. And when you listen to a podcast like this, or you follow me on social media, or any of the other people that you think have achieved great things, what you're doing is you're getting a highlight reel. You're not actually getting the arguments, the stress, the anxiety. You're not getting the fear. You don't feel what people like me or anybody that's achieved things feel on the day-to-day, the random Tuesday, the random Thursday, right? When I feel like a total failure, right? But the thing that I've come to realize on my journey is, and it's empowering and it's amazing, and I think it'll help you, is I'm starting to care less and less and less and less about what I personally feel like while I'm in the middle of completing the task. And it helps me a huge amount, because what would happen in the past is I would feel overwhelm, anxiety, pressure. Something wouldn't go like I thought. I have an expectation that wasn't met, and it would paralyze me, and I would push pause on all of my growth and progress because I was doubting myself, and I thought maybe this isn't for me. Maybe what everybody said was right. That wasn't true, but because I wasn't sure, I didn't have certainty on that, I would slow down, push pause, and then get stuck, and then somehow get triggered to kind of get out of that, right? I don't want you guys to get stuck. There's this new phrase I've been using, and I mentioned it on the podcast yesterday or the day before. It's called chopping wood. You got to keep chopping wood. Keep your head down and keep chopping the freaking wood. You know what the next big domino is for you to knock over. Stop making excuses. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Or for some of you who are having success, but now you're holding back because you've already achieved more than all of your family members would have ever imagined, and now you're getting complacent, knock it off. You know that deep down you're capable of much more, and it has nothing to do with money. It just has to do with living to your full potential and getting to a place of contribution and blowing anything you ever thought your life was capable of, blowing that out of the water. That's what matters. You need to start chopping wood. And we ignore things that need to be done. We put things off that need to be done based on fear, self-limiting beliefs, our paradigm from our childhood, all kinds of different reasons. The reasons don't really matter. I just want to encourage you that progress is messy. It's supposed to be messy. I think I've mentioned it before. I say this almost every week on my weekly company meetings with my entire team. I say, look, guys, our purpose here is not perfection. It's to move from chaos towards less chaos. And if you are doing that, that's you chopping wood. And if you have a bad day, okay, whatever. Just don't have another bad day. And if you have 2 bad days in a row, okay, whatever. Just don't have 3 in a row. And if you have 3 in a row, that's okay. Let's not have 4 in a row. Keep chopping wood, because this stuff does not have to take 20 years to work. Yes, it's hard. Yes, maybe you went into it with an unrealistic expectation because you're overly zealous and you overly idealized the idea of being an entrepreneur and you thought it'd be really easy, blah, blah, blah. And maybe you feel sorry for yourself, and maybe sometimes you think this isn't fair and the universe is conspiring against me and there's no good help out there, and excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. When you're done doing that and having your little pity party, I want you to wipe the tears off your face, stand up, put your pants on, put your shoes on, get out there and start chopping wood. Most of you already know the top couple things that you are neglecting to do that are going to move the needle for you. Stop focusing on why you're neglecting them. It doesn't matter if you're scared, do it anyway. It doesn't matter if it's hard, do it anyway. Who cares if it's scary or hard? Do it anyway. Just get it done. And when you come out the other side of it, you're going to understand even more what I'm saying now. You know, if you've never had a struggle or adversity or pain or suffering or any kind of trial in your business journey yet, there's only one reason why that's the case. It's because you haven't even begun to approach what you're capable of. You're holding back, and that is a form of weakness. Wherever you're at, I don't care if you have a $4 million business and you're listening to this, I want you to explain to me why it's not 10. And it's not about money, it's not about jet skis, it's not about whatever. It's about pushing yourself to the maximum limit of your capacity and your ability. Why? Because God put you on this planet to produce and to benefit and to contribute. And everybody's at a different spot. Everybody has different talent levels. None of it matters. You're only competing with yourself. And I'll wrap it up with this. I tell my boys every day, I say, who do you compete against? And they say, myself, Dad. I say this continuously. I said it 3 or 4 times today. Constantly, because we went bowling today. It was awesome. I did horrible. I'm not going to tell you my bowling score because it was actually completely shameful and humiliating. And I actually lost a bet with my kids, and now I have to run down my entire driveway in my underwear, screaming, I stink at bowling, I stink at bowling. And we have a really long driveway, by the way. It's 1,200 feet long. And I have to scream that all the way down the hill and all the way back up the hill because I lost this bet. And we do stuff like this all the time, by the way. If you're wondering, just listen to yesterday's podcast about family culture is epic, because this is how we roll, right? I want to encourage you that progress is messy. Keep chopping wood. You're probably know what the next big thing is that you need to do, or you're probably already doing it, but you're going really slow and you're second guessing yourself and you're just kind of like hemming and hawing and you got a little fear and you're like, well, or maybe you're succeeding, but you don't want to succeed too much. You know, you don't want people to think that you think that you're awesome. Oh, well, you know, I'm going to hold back, I'm going to kind of toe the line. Screw all of that stuff. Go for it. Who cares if it's hard? Chop the wood, build the thing, create your vision. Go for it. If it's hard, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care, and God bless.